So another week has went by, and once again we have another Dororo episode, and this week's episode has probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite, action sequence, just with how they animated brother versus brother combat. The way they went about exploring the animation, they went very loose, they went pretty abstract at times, and what it allowed for was very complex movements, rather than trying to keep everything super highly crisp and detailed as we typically see with this art style. We see a lot of loose line work, which allows for some pretty complex body movements, which allows for a really fast pace and at times hard to keep up with fight. It feels like two samurais going at it, giving it their all, feeling like they've had years of training, they know how to use their blades, and for a beginner like us, it's hard to see how much is actually going into their thought process with how they would swing or deflect, and it really made it feel amazing. And the fact that within this battle, they didn't even go the route of like super highlighting the fact that two characters lost their limbs. They sliced up their limbs and carried on with the fight. So many anime and just stories in general, when you have something to that magnitude happen, a character losing their arm, that's a pretty big deal, especially for warriors whose entire purpose is to protect the next heir, the next ruler of this kingdom, and they'll just lose their arms and we'll cut right back to Hyakkimaru. Actually, we don't even cut. It's just one continuous shot of just, holy shit, slice, slice, move on to your next opponent. The only time they actually focus on it is when we focus on his brother being like, what in the actual hell do you think you're doing? And it's such a great executed shot. It's directed fantastically because it keeps your focus on the action at hand, feeling like at any moment someone's going to die. And when bad things do happen, they don't really overly highlight it, but rather they make sure you know something crucial just happened, but they make sure that action never stops flowing. And the way they animated it, it felt so goddamn amazing. And it's one of my favorite pieces, if not my favorite piece of animation that I've seen from this season of Dororo. This episode was absolutely fantastic. You can definitely feel the tension in the air, where we have someone like Hyakkimaru who is just bound and determined to get his body, as he has been, but then you'll see poor Dororo really scared of what he will become. He isn't as lost as some of the scenes we've seen before, and he's scared me. He's had plenty of moments where it feels like he's becoming what it is he's hunting, becoming the demon, and what is he going to become for what he's trying to sacrifice to get what was taken from him. Dororo really values Hyakkimaru's life and also just the connection they currently have, and she is very afraid that the man that she's traveling with won't be that same person by the time he reaches his goal, because he's going to have to kill so much and he's going to have to kill his family. And she understands what family is. Family is something that even if you have hard times, even if you did once try to kill each other, she knows that eventually that will come back to haunt you and you're probably going to regret it. That is if you're a typical human. And she's very fearful that even though he's saying, I will kill my brother, I'll kill my mother, I'll kill anyone who gets in my way, she knows that's not what you should do or think. And it's because he's never had a proper family life that he can't really wrap his head around why he shouldn't do that. Even if he hates them and he has reasons to hate them, it's something that will haunt him for life and what he could become if he goes through with it. It's really heartbreaking, but I'm glad they didn't go the same route of when they first parted ways, where Dororo kind of disagreed with Hyakkimaru and they parted ways. This time, it's more of, I can't go with you because you're going to become a demon, and Hyakkimaru pulls an emotional card that's kind of unfair, but it's also a little touching. Him saying that, I don't need anyone as long as I have you, and you can see the pain because she values this connection so damn much, and she is so fearful of what he could become. Just in the prior episode, he looked like a demon, and it's very fearful. It's very tense to see where this character could go. He has a right for his body, but at the same time, there's an entire land that is ready now to go to war, to kill him, to kill the invaders. There's so much little things at play, and it's a pretty tense atmosphere, and it's one where I don't even have a side I'm rooting for. I really, really don't. I just think I wish the people of this land could, do well. I wish he could have his body and not become a demon in the process, but I don't think this is some children's fairy tale where they rewrote the story to make it look a lot more positive than the original fairy tales were, and it's very tense. I mean, you're seeing plagues just eat away at villages, so then the soldiers have to come in and take them out so they can't spread any further, burn the bodies, burn the villages, taking all of the people who can fight, leaving the women to care for the land, which really caring for the land isn't too much anymore. And then you'll see this one white horse, which I thought was a pretty sad scene. I mean, you see this like majestic horse, a mother, the little horse, and then it gets taken away. And I'm like, if that wasn't sad enough, then they go and make it into a bomb to suicide charge at Hyakkimaru. And granted, I mean, it becomes like some demonic horse, war horse at the end of the episode, which I'm really hoping Hyakkimaru gets to ride, because that would be amazing that the horse that tried to kill him then became like the devil's horse that he could ride into battle. It's going to be interesting to see where they want to go with that, but granted, I wouldn't be surprised if that horse tries to kill him down in that kind of chamber of death that he's now currently lingering in. This episode just had so many little pieces at play. It definitely feels like the end game has finally arrived. You're seeing everything from Dago's side, we're seeing things from Hyakkimaru's side, the brother's side, we're seeing all the little pieces at play. Granted, one of his brother's kind of allies, I forget her name, is clearly sick. She has something on her neck, which indicates that she has some sort of illness. The fact that she lost her arm, a lot of blood, I don't think she's going to be making it out alive. I mean, if she does, that'll be surprising. But it definitely seems like a lot of characters are about to suffer. A lot of people are going to die, and it's one where I don't pick a side. I just kind of sit back and say, what is the story you're trying to tell me? What is your true end goal here? And it'll be interesting to see where everything wants to go. This is one of those episodes that it feels like payoff. Like every episode of Dororo to some degree has been entertaining at the very least, if not fantastic. So to have an episode like this where I just come out saying like this feels like payoff, is not even me saying that the past episodes felt like dragged out or filler or things like that. It just felt like everything that we've been building up to. The tension, the climate with this kingdom, knowing that eventually it will fall the more he gets his body parts back. We know there's demons, we know there's corruption, there's sabotage, political interference. We know there's other kingdoms just waiting for their opportunity, that demons are no longer protecting them, and they'll take what they want for their own kingdom. And then there will be a lot of innocents who will get killed. And we'll see things from Dago's perspective, saving 2 innocent kids who were caught in the crossfire of basically a horrible war, why they hate war. It's basically which side you were born onto or which side you were saved from. And essentially that's going to be the side you believe is in the right, and why you can see people follow through basically the depths of hell, saying like Dago is the Lord and Savior, you know, his son will be the next Lord and Savior. And it's a pretty tragic end stage here, because everyone technically has a reason to fight for what they believe in. It's one of these stories that I just wish could end in a lot of ways, because I'm so fearful of where they truly want to end this at. And that's how you know you have a great story, that Mappa is delivering something that's so emotionally complex that you feel like all the sides are kind of justified in their own way. And you can see what happened to this kingdom in the long term. They were doing great, and now everything is going to shit. Of course, other kingdoms would suffer in the process, but we're focusing on this kingdom at hand. And I just don't know where they truly want to go with this end stage. I mean, reviving a horse to turn it into a demonic war horse, whether that will be an ally or not. We have all these characters either limbless or armless, or there's so much brutality going on, and to have a few episodes remaining to see where Hyakkimaru end up, I think that's one of the most interesting stories. Where will his mentality end up? This is a man who could easily become a demon, who could become the thing that he's been hunting, and once he regains his arms, his sight, what does he lose in the process? Does he lose Dororo, either her life or her just feeling like she can't walk side by side with him anymore? Will he have to kill his family? Will that eventually haunt him in the future? Like, there's so many little personal things at play, and then as you watch that, you have this entire kingdom just burning down because there's illness, there's plague, there's so many things they can't control currently, and they have to take these monstrous acts as a precaution in hopes to stop the fire from spreading even more. The animation, like I mentioned, I thought was just great, from body language and facial reactions. Of course, you have the typical Dororo that just really sells the show, you know, the over-exaggerated, over-emotional reactions that make you feel like you understand these characters' emotions. But when it got into the action, it just felt like there was a lot of polish and care. The fact that they went more freeform with it, it just allowed for these movements that just felt fast-paced, brutal, and savage, and you didn't know truly who was going to make it out alive. And until that warhorse came in to basically get killed to blow him up, like, it looked like Hyakkimaru was going to kill a lot there, and he was doing pretty damn well for being outnumbered there, which kind of just goes to show how hard of a life he's had, that he's had to become this strong in combat, even without having proper limbs to fight alongside with. Like, this episode was just holy shit. The voice actor, especially Hyakkimaru, someone who in the early stages we'd never even thought about a voice for, the more emotional he gets, the more I just feel like, holy shit, this man is just the perfect casting choice. I really can't even imagine how they would cast a English dub for this, because for Hyakkimaru, there's just such a wide variety of small details you need to get across with the voice, and it's the small details that a lot of people overlook. You know, just make an anime voice, have a couple of happy, sad, you know, simple emotions like that. But for Hyakkimaru in this episode, there's like 20 different emotions he just kind of fluctuates in his voice with these small mannerisms that if you really pick up on, you're just like, this feels like a real character with real feelings, real motivations, and you understand how he's lost in his current thought process. And you don't get to see that too often. I definitely think this is one of the best casted people for this season of anime. And there's a lot of great voice acting, and just say something to that nature that I'm like, holy shit, this is one of the best characters in terms of acting in this anime season. It just really goes to show how amazing the casting has been. And I just love this episode. It feels in a lot of ways depressing. It just feels like, holy shit, the end is near, but this isn't like your typical anime where the end is near and you're like, okay, the heroes will win, or maybe the heroes will die. You don't know where this is going. You don't know how many innocents will die. You don't even know if your main character will get what he's been searching for, and even if he does, will he still be the same person that Dororo has come to know and love? What will happen to this kingdom? What will happen to our main character? What will happen to the future? What will happen with the goal? There is so many pieces at play, and it doesn't feel like many of them will end up in a positive direction, highlighting the brutality of war, and that's what's really exciting about Dororo. And this end stage is one of my favorite end games I can recall in quite a while. Like, it's really well done, and it feels like payoff. You witness so many little stories at play, building up Hyakkimaru, building up this kingdom into what it is, and to see everything crumbling alongside them, both mentally as well as just with the kingdom itself. It feels like we've always known this day was coming, but we kind of wish we could put it off for another week or two because it's not looking good for any of the sides, and you don't get to see that too often with anime. I really enjoyed this week's episode of Dororo, definitely one of the strongest ones for sure. Everyone who did watch though, let me know what you thought. What did you think of just the complex moral dilemmas at play? How do you think next week is going to play out with that horse? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. If you did enjoy this video, be sure to drop a like and also hit that subscribe button if you haven't been new. So until next time everyone, please take care and have a good one.